Well, Friday's session ended up being an absolute massive grind to the upside, up like almost 3% on the day. Today, I was definitely bull biased going into the session, potentially thinking we might chop a little bit. Ended up ripping all day long. I decided I was going to not fight the trend, ended up fighting the trend at one point. Took 2 trades total, so let's dive into the trade recap from this morning's live stream session. All right, let's look at the market, shall we? Friday ended up just being a crazy pump all day. I ended up trading a lot of Friday's session. It felt like I was Picasso with my order fill lines. I was so scared of really committing to the long move, so I kept using my brackets over and over again. And I kept getting just little pieces out of the move, but I kept entering in because I had the brackets on, so I didn't feel like I was chasing it too hard. And the move was just straight up at the end of the day. Like it was, I mean, it was one of those days where you buy and you just hold and you are chilling for basically the entire session. It ended up being what, 2.7, 3% up on the day. Felt like I was chasing it in this section, but I still wanted to participate in some of the straight up only move. And so I did, but it was a lot of trades were taken and it just was comical looking at. But luckily I was still able to participate, which is good. So massive day on Friday across the board. ES looks like it's, I mean, 4K is inevitable, I feel like at this point. Maybe we rotate into the prior highs at 32. I don't know. Similar move on the Nasdaq would be the rotation to 755, which feels also likely. I don't know. We'll see. Bouncing on VWAP so far on the session. Up a little bit. Breaking out of Friday's value area high. Here's that move I was talking about on Friday. So yeah, we'll see what the session brings us. News-wise, not really anything. We are in earnings week, and then more next week. Like I believe Apple should be next week on the 2nd. But we have like Tesla this Wednesday. We have the airlines going. We got some defense stocks. So we got earnings going on this week and next week, obviously. And we'll see what the price action brings. Yeah. Double engulfing. I mean, if you want to just talk pure candle price action, right? This doesn't look like something you want to fade. If you just look at this chart, look at the daily chart, that is not something that you want to be fading. This much strength closing at the high, engulfing everything with a prior high, like 40 points away, whatever. Like that just always seems like a magnet to me at the 50s. On a close like this, it's just not something I want to be fading. I think I could realistically probably get away with a long potential at 813 or so. Something like this. Delta's holding up, which is the only reason why I'm interested in this, but point and control flip is a little questionable. See if we can get a quick fill out of here. Coming into volume at 08 maybe. Volume at 10. Gonna get stopped out here. Stopped out. That was at 8 points or so. Pushing down. I'm fine with that stop. That was the... Obviously, I'm fine with it. I put it there. I also saw some comment talking about how I justify every losing trade. It's not justification by any means. And it's also not me being okay with every losing trade. I typically try and say when I'm not okay with a trade. But lately, I've been okay with the trades that I've been getting into. And I think it's important to clarify that I'm okay with getting into the trade because you're not going to win every single trade. That's the only reason why I even say these types of things these days. But worth a long off of volume. The point and control flip up here, a little questionable. Said it in the moment. But when we haven't had hardly any pullbacks all day, then I'm going to take the one that's consolidating on volume for the next move up. On to the next. Oh, look at us. I mean, this looks like we're going to snap. I'm going to take the fade at 50 if I can get it. I want to give this enough room to where it's a new high of day push. So we do have all that volume at 55 as well. We do have the double top at 67, which is meh. So I'm just going to be patient here. Trying to wait for a little snap. I'm actually going to open this up as well. We do have the auto break even stop. So if we get 5 points and a quarter, it's going to move it to 5 points. But just in case we have the momentum on the break of this prior low at 43, and we actually get a decent sweep to fill volume, I'd like to participate in that. Got point of control now on the ES at 24. NAS point of control is very close to filling out here at 56 as well. Pushing nicely. I don't know if we get any high here or not though. Still hanging out at 56. The big question to me is if we pop this high, we're gonna probably rotate into 80, and then that's the short that I probably really want. We're about to pop the high right now, I think. It's new highs. I'm stopped out. 375. I'm not going to want to trade anymore here. But I think the 80 to 900 test is interesting. It's just, I'm trying to fade a very strong move. Delta looks heavy. And then we pop new highs on the day. So that's just like, I don't know. I'm not seeing it clearly. I don't really want it. I think 80 is going to be very interesting, and I want to see that trade, but I gave it wiggle room that I thought it needed, which was new highs on the day. How am I going to want to take a long here when Delta looks like this? And then we don't even get any signs of Delta until new highs on the day. That's tough to trade for me. For my style of trading, that's something that's very challenging and something that I won't take. Like, I'm not going to take a long here with this setup.